Hello everyone, it's Time Travel Reviews here, and today we're looking at the new action thriller time travel movie, Looper. So yeah, I'm actually doing another time travel movie. I think this is the first one, yes, it's Men in Black 3, that's right. Yeah, so Looper is about, if you have not known, seen the trailers already, I'd say go and see them because they will explain everything. It is about a group of people called Loopers who are sent people from the future from criminal organizations for them to take care of, because apparently in the future it's very hard to dispose of a body. I don't really get it, but for some reason there's it's very hard to dispose of a body. It's just very hard for people to do it, but these are criminal organizations in the future, so I don't really get that either. Like, wouldn't they just be? I mean, they're criminals, like. And there's murders in the streets the present in this movie is 2044, but in the future there's criminal organizations that, like, why can't they just kill someone? Because they're criminals. They're going to get arrested anyway if they're caught. I don't, whatever. That's irrelevant. But yeah, criminalizations send people back to the present, which is 2044, where the loopers, they shoot them and then dispose of the body because technically they don't exist there. So, and then they're completely off the record. There's no body. So take that as you will. But yeah, so this is Bruce Willis, and I can't remember his name. He's got it's like Jason Gordon-Levitt or something like that. What is it? Jason Gordon-Levitt. I don't know, Jason Gordon-Levitt. All right, there you go. That's what it is. Okay, I was close enough. All right, but yeah. So Bruce Willis is the older version of himself, and Jason Gordon-Levitt is the younger version of himself. And so basically, also these loopers, the reason they're called loopers is because eventually, because the criminal organizations want to get rid of the lost, the stuff that is left behind, they send the loopers back in time when they're old, 30 years after they have finished their retirement, to get killed by their previous selves. Another thing I don't get about this is, why did they choose their previous selves to be the ones that execution them? Does that happen all the time, or does it just happen by mistake? Or why can't they make it sure that when they send a future self back, when they send an older self back, that it's a different person? Because obviously, they have this problem where you let your looper go, which is exactly the plot of this movie. Jason Gordon-Levitt lets his looper run. That's a major problem that they have. Like, another guy, even in the movie early on, another guy lets his looper run. And so I don't get, why don't they send someone else? But I guess maybe it's meant to be some kind of rite of passage, maybe some thing, this ironic thing where they make it so that the person kills their older self, just. And also they once they do that, they're officially retired and they get a whole lot of gold and stuff like that. But what I can say about this movie, it surely was an interesting time travel movie. Men in Black 3 was something that we'd seen so many times before. I said, in that video, how many things it rips off, how many movies have done that before. This one it's a bit more new. It's something that we really have not seen before. It's usually with these movies, it has the position of the person who comes back in time and tries to change the past. But the other way, this is the position of the younger self who witnesses the future self coming back and trying to change the past. Because when the future self comes back, Bruce Willis comes back and tries to change the past. That's his main intention. When he runs away, when he gets away from Jason Gordon-Levitt, who has to kill him. Which, yeah. So the gangsters are after Jason Gordon-Levitt because he let his looper go, which you don't do. The gangsters don't like that. And they're also after Bruce Willis because they want to clean up, and it's the main thing was for them to kill the older self. So they're both after both of them. I won't tell you what happens between them, how their relationship is through the movie. You can see that for yourself, but the way that they took it was actually kind of unpredictable for me. I didn't really think that they were going to do that way. I would have preferred it if they did it the more predictable route. I won't say what is the predictable route and what is not the predictable route, but I would have preferred it if they took the predictable route, because I would have liked that, but they didn't. But I don't mind either. Jason Gordon-Levitt as a young Bruce Willis, I think everyone's already talked about this, but it doesn't really make much sense. And I guess with the makeup, they did a good job. Like, he looks a bit like Bruce Willis, but I would have preferred it if they just did, the surrogates thing where they just got Bruce Willis with a wig on and makeup and made him look young and maybe make him a little bit older with another makeup, rather than hire someone else to play. Because while they did a good job, as I said, I don't think they did a good enough job. I think that I still kind of felt like these were different characters. I still really felt like Jason Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis were not the same character. And there's a scene near the beginning where they're showing the life of Bruce Willis, of the original Jason Gordon-Levitt, the original one. If he actually killed the Loop and he didn't actually, so his life from there. And there's one point where they change the actor when how he's aging, and it really looks really silly in my opinion. But overall, I didn't mind. I didn't find it too distracting, but I really couldn't imagine these two as the same character. Really, I would have just preferred if it was the same actor. But that's just my opinion. As for the movie, I found it very interesting. I found it a good movie, and as I said, it's more original than Men in Black 3 or some of the other crap that comes around with time travel stuff and source code. Seen it before with Deja Vu, and I like this movie more than Source Code. And Source Code, I remember going into it, I thought it was going to be really good because it was getting really, really good reviews. And although I hadn't known it yet, Duncan Jones also directed Moon, which I hadn't seen yet, but Moon is one of my favourite movies, and for him to direct a time travel movie that got really good reviews, and for me not to like it, I found that kind of disappointing. But and just by the way, to clarify what I mean by all that, I saw Moon after I saw Source Code. That's what I mean. But for this, it got really good reviews. It's a time travel thriller, which I like. Hence my name, my channel, and I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a success. I did like the first half more than the second half. A lot of people have said that. So I'm kind of going with the crowd here on that as well. I did like the second half, but I like the first half a lot more. I think that the second half takes a direction that I guess I wouldn't have gone in if I was writing this movie. I think the first half was good and how it set everything up. The second half just kind of it goes into a different direction, and it's like the midpoint turn of a screenplay, where it goes into a different direction of the plot, and I think they could have come up with something better than this. To be honest, I won't spoil anything, but I will say that there's a really really good child actor in the second half, and I won't spoil anything more, but he's really really good. So, and I think there was a lot of original stuff in this movie, the future in this movie. They have these people called TKs, and they don't actually do much. They just levitate coins, and they're just they're telekinesis. And they say originally they were going to be superheroes. That's what everyone thought, but they just ended up being just guys floating coins. And I don't really think that they put this to much use. I think that it's just there to be there. There's one good reason why they have it for the second half of the movie, but that's about it. And they kind of just bypass this. But I'm kind of glad that they didn't turn this into a thing where they it's so predictable that they make new action scenes out of it or some crap like that. And the wind just closed the door, if you could hear that. I'm glad that they didn't start making action scenes where people levitating CGI blocks over and hitting someone over the head or something. I couldn't be arsed. I like the shoot 'em outs in this movie. I like it. I like the shoot 'em outs where people use their guns. That sounds really stupid, but the future in this movie, again, I like it. It reminded me most, if I was going to pick a future, of the future from shit, I've forgotten what the movie's called. Children of Men. Children of Men, is that what it's right? Yeah, Children of Men, whatever. Children of Men. It reminded me of the future of that because it was really like, you know, depressing and overpopulated and all that kind of stuff. About half of the movie, the second half of the movie again, they don't really spend that much time in this part of the future. They go to somewhere else, and this part, it really just looks like the 21st century. Oh no, the early 21st century. It just looks like our time. There's nothing really that interesting. It just looks like just something generic, just our time. 2010s, you know, whatever. It doesn't look like the 2044s, which I found a bit disappointing. I wanted to see more of this future, but I mean, I guess like these dystopian futures are kind of just generic anyway, so there was no real use. But I was really interested in this future and this overpopulation and all that kind of crap. But I guess I can't complain too much about that. But I did really like the whole mythology this movie had about time travel. Like it had its own style. I'd say like this movie has like the real time travel, like what you see in what the hell, Frequency. Frequency is probably the best example of what the time travel is like in this movie. Like where, you know, stuff in the past, if you chop a arm off someone who the previous self, you know, the future self their arm would just go away, and either in the future, or if the future self back in the past, you know, their arm would go away, or something like that. I won't get into detail, but there were a few things in terms of like time travel that didn't make much sense. There's some things which you can kind of excuse, and you know, it fits its own logic well, but like its own internal logic well in terms of time travel. But there were a few things that I didn't feel were quite right about it all. It didn't make perfect sense, but I'm not going to complain too much. I didn't really think that there was enough interaction between I really wanted to see more interaction between the young and the older self, and the ending didn't make any sense to me. What one of the characters does, it could have been done much easier. They do something and they could have done something which would have solved the problem just as equally well if they did something else, but they didn't. But the time travel, it kind of makes sense, but it kind of really doesn't in this movie. It kind of it's another one of those. I think it does better than some other movies, like Time Cop. This is very similar to Terminator and Time Cop, by the way. It's done better than movies like Time Cop. The time travel definitely, but it still has problems. But I'm not gonna get really into detail. I'm not that critical. But as a good, like, it's got good it's just a good action thriller with a decent villain, good time travel movie. You know, it makes you think. Even like, I was thinking about the time travel last night and how it works and how it doesn't work, and so in that way this movie worked well for me. It doesn't go into really any predictable territory. It has some really cool scenes. And I mean, the future world is really cool as well. And I mean, Bruce Willis, you know, time travel, that's awesome already. 12 Monkeys, you know. So there's nothing really I can really complain about Looper. Like, this is the kind of movie that I like to watch. If I could say, like, this is the movie for me. I'm the kind of the time travel thriller guy. I like to do these kind of movies. So if these are more of these are made, I'd be very happy to watch them. Like, it fulfilled my quota of what I wanted to see. What I wanted to see. Source Code was disappointing. This movie basically met the expectations. And by the way, I was anticipating this movie a bit. Like, I wasn't thinking it was going to be the best thing ever, but I was anticipating it, especially with its very high rating on Rotten Tomatoes. But I feel like I do want to visit this movie maybe in 5 or 10 years again and rewatch it, because I think that it is a candidate for maybe in the future of one of my favorite movies, maybe, because I did get a bit distracted by other people in the cinema in this movie. And also, this is very embarrassing, but halfway through the movie, I had a bit of food stuck in my teeth, so I tried to get it out with my fingernails, and I got my fingernails stuck in my teeth, and okay, well, that's all you really need to know about that. But so I got a bit distracted. But I do feel like I really want to revisit this movie in a couple of years and see what I think about it then. Because, I mean, it was a really, really cool movie. But it has definitely some problems. But I'm not going to spoil them for you. So, that's really all I have to say. I got nothing more else to say. Yeah. Sorry, that was terrible. I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. I did like The Amazing Spider-Man and The Hunger Games more than this movie. I think another reason is that I kind of... The Jason Gordon-Levitt character, I didn't think he was really... They didn't really go into too much depth about him. And then there was some exposition that I think they were trying to say, but I really... Either I wasn't paying attention or other people were talking to me or something like that, and I couldn't really get... But it was kind of just exposition just thrown in there. That's what I felt like this movie. It just has like some just like blah 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 scenes where exposition just thrown. And the suspense, I think the suspense was kind of a bit lacking in the second half of the movie as well. It wasn't very suspense. There wasn't much tension going on in the second half of the movie. A bit slow as well. So those are the things that made me not like this movie as much as, you know, it might have been. Bruce Willis, even though, like I said, it was unoriginal to follow the person that actually goes back in time and try to change the past, I would have preferred seeing his character's point of view, to be honest. I would have preferred seeing that character, what that character felt and does, and because, I mean, I think Bruce Willis is just an amazing actor. That's one of the reasons I felt for his character more, and also because I just think that he was a much more interesting character. But the movie could have been better. Like I'm sure it could have, but I'm not going to complain. Again, it was definitely entertaining. It was definitely interesting, and I definitely want to see it again. So that's 3 strikes. Or nothing more to say. 8.5 out of 10, and I say definitely go see it because it's a good movie. See ya.